everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So excited it's Friday. Oh, it's been a week. But welcome to episode number 7 of the Monica Kelley Show. And today I have Fancy Nancy, the Fancy Nancy, in studio with me today, who has, I thought, at least 20 years experience, but she just shared with me that she has 25 years experience in real estate, which is crazy because when you see her, she doesn't even look like she's 25. So I'm happy to have her in studio with me today. And I always kind of butcher her name, but it's Nancy Messiha.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Because I was saying Messiah, and we just kind of had that conversation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to my special guest that I have in the studio today, Miss Fancy Nancy. What's up, girl?
What's up? I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. We're surviving. We're on day 4 of no power.
All right.
Could be worse.
That's right.
I've seen people, houses flooded and hit by lightning, all those things. So we're still blessed and thankful.
Right.
We're just working through it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. All right. So just warm up a little bit. Everybody's always kind of nervous about, what do I do? What do I say? Because I don't send you anything. It's really off the beaten path. So just start with telling us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Fancy Nancy. I've been in the business, like you said, 25 years. I have a family. I'm a new mom. She is 4 months. Like 2 days ago. And then I have a 5-year-old son named Cairo, and then my husband Ernest. So I'm just blessed to have them. We had some fertility issues trying to have our second one. So, we did like 3 rounds of fertility and nothing didn't work out over the years. Mm-hmm. And then just when you give it to God, it happens.
Wow. Yeah. And had you not told me that, I would have never known because I've followed you on social media for a while. I like what you do.
Thank you.
We finally met face to face, happened to sit at the same table at Rosemary's Bestie Retreat.
Yes.
And you were pumping at the time. Yeah. And the way things were done when I had my kids. Now, I'm not a trooper. I'm not a real OG. I didn't breastfeed.
Yeah.
I'm not doing all that. I'm like, pop the bottle and let's just keep it pushing. But I commend you all because before, when I went in the hospital with both of the boys, I was going to breastfeed and I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I tried. Let me not say that I tried because I never even tried. I just looked at them and I knew what all was taking place. And I was just like, I can't do this. Just give me a bottle.
Yeah.
So the equipment that you were using though.
Yes, it's definitely a journey, and I'm very thankful that I actually have milk because there's a lot of moms that don't. And
right.
So I'm very thankful for that because it's been a blessing. But I'm very also, conscious about some people's journey is a little bit different.
Right.
And luckily the technology is like amazing because even from when I had my son 5 years ago, you're plugged into the wall, you got the long cord.
Yes.
It's not as mobile. And even with our job, I'm plugging it into the cigarette holder. But now I have like these portable ones and it's called the LV and I just kind of like tuck them in.
Yes, I saw
and
that.
You don't even know that.
You can't even tell they're there.
There.
I kept looking. I was like, how is she doing this? And then you were so careful with just pouring the milk and wiping it off.
Yeah.
And it sanitized. And I was like,
I'm a little bit OCD. But yes. And so it's been such a blessing. And I'm thankful that I'm able to do it.
Wow. Well, I think I saw you guys on the lake for Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
And you had, I guess, Dad's ball cap.
Covering the sun, covering the babies, the babies up. Yes.
She's so precious. And the thing that I enjoy the most is her eyes.
Thank you.
And so I'm always looking, and your little boy, he looks like he's so smart. And he plays ball, right?
He's, we just got him in soccer and he loves to swim. But he is really smart. He can read at like a 1st, 2nd grade level.
Yeah.
So we've been just really blessed.
His little curly hair.
Yeah.
Oh, it reminds me of my oldest. My oldest son, Tyler, had the curliest hair and it was just so cute. And every time I see a curly head little boy, I think about him. Now, my baby boy had curly hair too when he was born, but his hair texture changed. Tyler's pretty much stayed the same for the most part, but Trent's changed. And so every time I see a little boy with curly hair, it reminds me of my boys.
Yes.
Both of them. So shout out to you, Super Mom, and talk to me about the husband a little bit.
So my husband and I, he is in IT. He's a director of IT. We've been married now 5 years, but we've been like best friends for like 15.
Wow.
We were like best friends for like 10 years before we even like started dating. So
wow.
we met each other first. So I like really did marry my best friend. I know that sounds like so cliche, but I kind of feel like the way how life is like so busy that if you kind of aren't married to your best friend, it's hard because things just become routine and you go through like phases and sometimes you feel like roommates, sometimes you don't, you know, like they're all really real things. Right. You know, nothing's picture perfect.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm glad you shared that because so many people that are not married, they think that marriages are perfect.
No.
And they're not. They are a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. People change, people go through things. And it's up to that person if they just want to continue on with that individual. But let me say this. You can make a mistake, but if you continue making the same mistake, it becomes a choice. And that choice is a habit. And the only person that can break that habit is you. So I'm not saying that I was perfect. Or I am perfect, you know, in my relationship or whatever the case is. But if you continue doing the same thing over and over and over, then yes, it becomes a choice. So marriage is work.
It is.
And it is a lot of fun at the same time, too. But there are days when you go home and you're like, oh, my God, I can't stand him. Why am I even with him? Why am I even married with him? Or whatever the case is. And with you, I'm sure you're like, you are pulled in all directions. You've got baby girl, you've got baby boy, you have husband. You're doing the design, the decor thing. You've been in real estate for 25 years. You own all this stuff. Every time I turn around, you somewhere doing something. So shout out to you for being that woman that can juggle because all women can't do that either.
Thank you. I also have a really supportive husband. Like he's amazing with our kids. And I think that is really key because you can't do it all. And he's just so good with my kids. Like I don't get the phone call like, when are you coming home? Or how do I do this? Like he just handles it or figures it out. And I think that is an attribute to me being able to do me and be successful and those kind of things because I have a great support system.
Right. You just recently went to a conference in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
See, I told you I keep up with you. You don't even know I'm watching. But
we went to the Girls with Grit. And I went with a lot of my real estate friends, Rosemary, my real estate bestie.
Yes.
And Nicole. And we went out there. It was a great time.
Right. But you roomed with my friend Nicole, who's also a breastfeeding mom. And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I just wonder what that room looked like.
Our refrigerator was full of milk. We called ourselves the breast friends because like we had a whole milk freezer, like refrigerator full of milk. Right. And then, set our alarms at 2 a.m. to get up and pump. Like it's definitely a dedication.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
Baby girl is here,
yes.
Even though you had to go through something. And it's funny because I had a friend who went through the same thing and nothing has happened at this point. And she's been off for a while, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And then I just had another friend tell me last week that she was getting ready to start. And I was thinking, wow, like this is more common than I think.
It is. And it's not something that's talked about. And also too, like I'm older mom. I know, like you said, I look like I'm 12. Most people would never guess. I had my first son at 38.
Oh, wow.
And then I had Zariah at 42. I gave birth at 42. So it's late in the game, considering most of my friends had their kids in their 20s.
Right.
So I'm a little bit later. So it's harder, and, we went through a miscarriage. And so the journey is just different.
Yeah, it is. It's different for everyone. Yeah. And so I just want to say congratulations to y'all. And y'all did a great job pushing through because I could just kiss all over her little thighs and her little feet and smell her little neck.
Yes.
Someday I'm going to be a grandma and I'm probably going to be a crazy granny, but
hey,
I tell my boys all the time.
That's what grandparents are for.
I can't wait, but I can wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't wait. I'm just so ready. And sometimes I'm in the store and I'll send them pictures of onesies and I'll send them pictures of this. And I'm like, I cannot wait. And on TikTok, you see all these cute little babies. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be that granny,
And the girl stuff is
I don't even know what to do with a girl because all I have is boys. So I guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah, all the girl stuff is so cute.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So now let's talk about business. How's it going for you?
It's going. We're busy. I'm busy. Thankfully, it's a balance. I feel like May is busy. Everyone's trying to list and do all that. And, 95% of my business is all referral, which I'm so grateful for.
Right.
And I've been in the business for a long time. So I constantly have referral business, but that's also because I nurture my clients. But yes, it's busy. I have a new listing going live today. It's in Flower Mound. It's for like 1.1 million.
Wow.
By like Lakeside. It's super cute.
I love it.
I have another one in Argyle currently on the market, one in Midlothian. So I kind of end up everywhere because it is referral business.
Right.
So I'm not really an expert on an area. I'm an expert in people. And I just kind of go wherever the referrals.
I love it. I love it. And that's good.
Yes.
You're an expert with people because this is a people relationship business. People are only going to do business with you if they like you, they know you, and they trust you. And they're still going to check with 15 to 20 people just to say, hey, man, I'm thinking about buying this house. Such and such said I should use Nancy. Such and such said I should use Monica. Which one of them should I use? I get that all the time.
Same.
So if you actually get a phone call these days in real estate, because there's a real estate agent, literally, there's 10 agents on every single corner. Yes. That's what I tell people. It used to be like one on every single corner, but everybody is getting into real estate. And so that's amazing. Now let's back up, but I'm so excited to talk about this $1.1 million listing.
Yes.
Super proud because that happens all the time up here, but it doesn't happen all the time up here for certain people, if that makes sense. We all know that there's luxury agents out there.
Yes.
And so those people are going to pick up the phone and call those agents, but people who just aren't just honed in on luxury, because everybody has their needs, right? So the people that aren't just honed in on luxury, I get excited when I see somebody that has a property that's listed at 500,000 or 700,000 or 1.1 million. Now, for me, listing something in the Texarkana area at $1 million may be a little tough.
Yeah.
Not saying that there aren't $1 million homes out there.
Right.
There may be a few.
Right.
And normally the ones that we have out there, people are hanging on to them. So in Texarkana, there's not a whole lot of turnover, if that makes sense.
No,
there are a lot of people that buy a house and they stay in that house forever and ever and ever. But I think that's starting to change the more that the economy changes, or the more that the marketing changes, or even the more that things are just put out there, period.
Right.
So congratulations on the 1.1 million, and it's on the lake. How snazzy is, or how fancy is that?
It's in Lakeside, so it's not like a lake lot, but it's in that community. I think, in today's real estate world, like you were saying, it's one of those situations where, $1 million looks a little bit different today than it did like when we were like kids. You think of $1 million house, you think of this like big, huge mansion. But right now, $1 million is kind of looking sometimes like just kind of an average house.
Yeah.
Not to sound
right.
But it's true.
Right.
And so what you can get for $1 million is different. But this one is an older home, and it's on a 1.13 acre lot.
Wow.
So, and it's in an exclusive community, and I'm really excited about it. And so,
nice. So what do you have planned? Tell me how you're going to market that property.
So, like I said, we rearranged pictures a few times because of weather. So we're going today.
Okay.
But we have open house this weekend, probably on Saturday if I can get everything from the photographer.
Right.
I had it set up for Saturday and Sunday, but we'll for sure do the Sunday one. I'm shooting for tomorrow. But, we'll just do the open houses. And then if I'm thinking that I'm going to get a lot of traffic because we had done an estate sale as well. And during the estate sale, I had gotten a lot of interest. And so I've already emailed those people and let them know, hey, we're going on the market, that kind of thing. And so kind of just feeling out what's going to transpire once I actually get the photos. It's been hard to market.
Yes.
Since I don't have photos due to weather. But as soon as I get those, we're going hard.
Good to go.
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's back up. You started in real estate 25 years ago. You started out doing what?
So I originally started working for a builder, and I worked as an assistant for a builder. And then after that, I did that. And when you work I had gotten my license, but when you work for a builder, they make you put your license inactive because they don't want you to be able to, since you're sitting in a model home and you're working for a company, if people are walking in and they don't have a realtor, they don't want you to be able to take people out of that model and sell them a different home than the one that you work for.
Okay.
So I got my license, and then I had to put my license inactive. And then I worked for a builder till about 2007 when the market kind of switched. And then I left the builder and went into more doing interior design and that kind of thing. And then I reinstated my license at that point.
Nice.
And then I've been doing real estate since then.
Nice.
So yeah, so I have really lots of builder experiences, you know, which it's the builder world is totally different than like than the realtor world. Yeah. And I even like when it comes to consumers, because I think consumers think, oh, like if I don't use a realtor, you know, they're going to give me a better price on a home because I don't have a realtor. Yeah, the realtor commission is fixed into the marketing budget with a builder. It's not fixed into the end volume of your house.
Right.
They already configure it into the marketing. They know a certain percentage of realtors bring them business, and that is configured in their marketing. It has nothing to do with the house. So when they say, oh, I'm going to give you this upgrade or this incentive if you don't use a realtor, most of the time they're saying that because a lot of builders, the salespeople actually get paid more if there is no realtor. And if you do not use a realtor when you are purchasing new construction, you have no one representing you because that salesperson...
Say it again.
You have no one representing you. That salesperson represents the builder. That salesperson does not work for you.
Right.
And so there's a misconception there and they don't want you to use a realtor because then they know that you don't know the rules. Yes. Whatever they tell you, if you want to ask for something to be added later, they can tell you no. You don't normally know that you need an inspection. Their process goes much easier if a realtor isn't involved.
Correct.
And so, you know, it's crazy. And the things that they charge upgrades for, like, the amount of markup that a builder has is crazy. I mean, I'm sure now, even with how much things have changed, the difference is even more, you know, higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you know, it's very like, oh yeah, I went in there and they said I didn't need a realtor. And it's like,
yeah, that's what they're going to tell you.
Yep. So there's that.
Yes, yes. And I hear people say all the time, I don't need a real estate agent. I'll just go to the title company and they'll write the contract or they'll do whatever it is that I need them to do. But at the same time, there's so many fees that a seller should be responsible for and a buyer should be responsible for. And the buyer doesn't realize that they may be paying some of what the seller should be paying for. Now, the seller knows what they're doing, you know, per se, or they think they know what they're doing. Let me say that because I've had some sellers too, you know, and I'm like, you know, but they think that they know what they're doing. So you're right. I mean, I think every single transaction needs a real estate agent on the transaction. Yeah. And every individual should have their own realtor. And I'm going to say that because with what's about to take place, it's possible that, you know, a listing agent may be responsible for both sides of the transaction. But when they sign that contract, they signed to represent that seller. They didn't sign to represent the seller and the buyer.
Exactly.
So because the seller is the one that's normally paying the commission, right? So we have a lot to think about, you know.
And I think the thing that the sellers aren't necessarily like maybe processing just yet, like they hear the media, oh, I don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission. Okay, Mr. Seller, that's great and all, but now you're going to go enter the market and you're entering in as a buyer. And usually when you enter in as a buyer coming off of a seller, you're usually upgrading.
Correct.
There are some instances where you're not, but if you're upgrading, that means higher price point. That means that your buyer's agent commission that you're about to have to pay because you didn't want to pay it on your sale is going to be more. So really it's kind of a wash.
It just depends. And I tell people all the time, if we decide that we don't want to do anything, then how's anybody going to make anything?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's where the money is coming from. So it's just going to take a lot of education. And if you're dealing with someone and they actually trust you, they should trust your advice.
I agree.
And not the media's advice, because the media has a job to make this look a different way when it really doesn't have to be that way. But we're not going to talk about that anymore.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I think that's the first time that I've publicly said anything, but I really didn't say anything. At the end of the day, bottom line is if the seller doesn't pay the commission, then doesn't anybody no one gets paid.
Right.
And it's not about getting paid. It's about making sure that the transaction is closed. But at the end of the day, people still have a livelihood and people have families that they have to take care of. So anyway, that's my piece on that. So started with the builder 2007. You kind of took off and went where?
I took off and I went and got my real estate license as an individual, and then we'll work that. But I also did other things because, when you're a new agent, you're not necessarily making a ton of money.
Right.
So I was still like bartending. I did that, and I still worked as promotions model, different things. And then in 2012, I just went to real estate full time. I was just like, I'm done with everything else.
Yeah.
Went to real estate full time. And then in 2015, I got my broker's license.
Nice.
And then now I have my broker's license. I've had it. I am with EXP. So I am with Lux Living Realty, powered by EXP. So, and I do that. And yeah, I've been in the business now. It's every year is different.
Every year, every day. Every hour. Let's just talk about every hour. It seems like it's almost down to every minute. The past couple of weeks that I've had in real estate, they have been very interesting, super interesting. And I'm just like, did the eclipse leave some stuff behind? Because people they're just not with it right now.
I like the past few weeks have been interesting for me too. Like I said, I have been in business for a really long time, and I don't know if you saw my video about the wire fraud that I had.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh. On like one of the worst houses that was already complicated. Of course, it was a short sale. It was already difficult. The buyer wired $250,000 to a wrong account that he'd gotten the email from the night before, and he didn't call and verify the account number. And
it's very... Look at Jesse.
Yeah. It was a lot, you guys. It was definitely a lot. And I was just like, oh my gosh, is this like really happening? Like, I have never had this happening. I mean, you see it on the bottom of all the title company emails. Like,
do not wire anything unless you call. I mean, we tell clients that don't send any money. You call. If they call me and ask me right now, what is the wire instructions for a title company? You call the title company, because I don't want to have any parts to do with that. I can't keep up with my own bank account numbers, let alone trying to keep up with someone else's bank account numbers. So you need to call the title company. But I have heard, I went to something and there was someone there from, I want to say it was Capital Title, and they talked about how important it is to educate your clients about wire fraud. And that's why we get them to sign the wire fraud form. Like, you don't do anything until you call the title company and you actually speak to a rep. So I can only imagine.
It was a nightmare.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so that's what's kind of been circling after the eclipse.
Yes.
And I'm just like, we everybody's losing power. This rain is coming out of nowhere. It just seems really, really weird. But I mean, it could just be what's happening in the world, but it just kind of seems weird. It's like everything just went crazy after that. So
yeah.
So 25 years, started out with the builder. Have you ever done any leases?
Oh yeah.
Do you like doing leases? I hear it's a lot of paperwork.
Yes,
it's done correctly. It's a lot of paperwork.
It is, and there's a lot of forms you have to have. But yes, I've done leases. My husband and I have a few rental properties, so I do all of mine. I do my brother's, my mom's, friends of mine, and clients of mine. But I don't like advertise that I do like a bunch of leases because, like you said, it's very time consuming and it's just a lot. But yes, I have done leases. I mean, when you first start out, you got to.
Right.
That's how you get leads. And those lease clients turn into clients.
Yes.
So yes, definitely.
Okay. So in Texarkana, an agent that just specializes in leases, that there may be one or two, if I'm not mistaken. But when it comes to property management, they go through like a property management company, or they do the property management themselves. There may be just a few property management companies in Texarkana. I only know of one, maybe two agents that deal with leases like that in Texarkana. But up here, from my understanding, everyone that I've spoken with, when new agents come in, they start with leases.
Yeah, that's the way to get.
They start with leases and they start with open houses, from my understanding. Now let's talk about open houses. In my community, if the listing agent doesn't do the open house, it will not get done. Up here, baby, y'all share them open houses with whoever wants to do an open house, and I commend you for it.
Yes.
Because it gets the property out there more. One specific agent can't do an open house every single weekend on every single listing that they have in the Texarkana area. Our area has been dead with open houses for a very long time. And I mean, I've only been licensed for 4 years, so open houses is really not a thing. People don't show up. We've tried to do them on Saturday. We've tried to do them on Sundays. I've tried to partner with other agents that's in the area. Like, hey, everybody in the neighborhood, let's do an open house. If a client comes in, I'll send my client to you and vice versa, just to try to get traffic through there. But when I look at you guys' story up here in DFW, open house on Tuesday from 1 to 4, open house on Wednesday from 1 to 4. It's like it's every single day and it's a different agent. And I like that.
Yeah.
So how does that work for you guys? Do people just reach out and say, hey, Nancy, like for me, if I called you and said, Nancy, I want to do an open house this Sunday on your $1.1 million home. I'm assuming you call the seller and say, hey, Monica's with EXP. She would like to do an open house. Is that okay this weekend from 1 to 4? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So here it's like you said, it's different. I kind of already know when I'm taking the listing, like I let the agents know, like, hey, I have a team, of people and we all do open houses. And this way it's a good marketing tool because everybody has a different sphere of like people that they can pump it out to. So you get more eyes on your house than if it's just me doing your open house every single week. And they really gravitate towards that. And they're very much open to that. Being that we are with EXP, there is like a platform when you could literally put in there, like, who wants to do an open house this weekend? And like you will get like 10 to 15 people like, I want to do it.
Absolutely.
And like you said, usually it's a lot of the newer agents because that's how they like it and they get their traffic pipeline. And they build their pipeline. I personally do not love open houses. I have not.
You're not alone.
I don't love them. They're not for me. I think the personality type, I mean, I'm very outgoing, but like, again, I think because a lot of my business is all referral that I don't really have to like, it seems ungenuine in my personality to pick somebody up in an open house. Like if they come in, we vibe and there's a vibe going, it's great. But like for me to have to be like, do you have any questions? And like, I'm following you around and this, it's just not my style.
Right.
I do much better at like going to like a Home Goods and walking around and seeing a lady have, some glasses or, blankets and give an opinion or interact with them. Like, what do you think of these? I can't decide. I'm here by myself and like get them going that way. And by the time I'm done with the conversation, I'm giving a business card.
Right.
That works out better and is more genuinely me, authentically me than like sitting in an open house and being like, come work with me.
Yeah.
And I don't like the aspect of like, you're feeling like, oh, sign in here. And like, they don't really want to sign in. No. They feel like you're going to like spam them or bombard them, even though I'm really not, but like, they feel like you might, it's just not, I don't like it.
Right.
But again, I say all that to say everything works differently for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I have some agents that are my friends and like they freaking love open houses and they do so good. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, she's like, yeah, I got like 3 leads. I'm like, you go, girl. More power to you because I do not get any leads.
Right.
But obviously it's me, right? And I'm already going in there with like, because it's just not my thing.
Right. You really don't want to be there. So the client feels your energy like, oh, she really doesn't want to be here. And you try your best to be like, hi.
I try my best. And I also like, I made it my goal where I'm like, every single listing I have, I'm going to do the one open house, at least that first weekend. And I'm going to do all my own that first weekend on all my listings. And, I got the pretty cute flags and, all the cute stationery and feedback forms and all the things. And I'm like, in my mindset, I was like, I'm going to tackle this.
Right.
I did it, but again, it wasn't my thing. I didn't get any leads from it. Nothing that like panned out.
Right. And it goes back to what I said, everybody has their strong skill set and whatever that is, that's what it is. It's just like the different platforms with social media. Everybody has their strong presence on whatever platform it is. So you just never know.
Yeah.
All right. So switching gears, let's talk a little bit about your Fancy Fridays. Is that what it is?
Fancy
Tell
Fridays.
me about Fancy Fridays And then after you tell me about Fancy Fridays, tell me how you got into the decor, the interior, all that good stuff.
Okay, so Fancy Fridays is a segment that I do on my social media, and it's basically where I have to show up every single Friday and I have to be consistent because consistency is key in business.
Yes, it is.
And so with me giving it like a day, Friday, that means that like every single Friday I have to post. And I've been doing this now for 4 years, so I have like a plethora of like videos and I was doing video before video was really like a thing. And so it's just like a 1 minute, 2 minute max segment where I'm in a house describing something fancy or giving a tip about something. It could be decor related, real estate related, anything, a restaurant that I think is fancy, anything that is like fancy. That's why it's called Fancy Friday.
Right.
Fancy because I'm Nancy and I'm Fancy Nancy.
Yes.
So, and then Friday is because that's the day that it's posted.
Right.
And then I have like an Amazon storefront. So usually if I'm talking, like I did one on, the plugs that you plug in the wall, like the stationary plugs where it gives like a nightlight underneath.
Yes.
And like just how cute it is. And, you know, your kids can't like stick their fingers in it. They can't take the plugs out of the mouth, put it in their mouth, like those kind of things. I put the link on my Amazon store. So whatever I'm talking about, I try to give like a reference of the person watching can go to find it. And you would be amazed that usually the ones that I think are like, oh, this is so dumb, get like the most views. Like I did one on, you know, those like laundry beads that you like put in the laundry and make your clothes smell good. So I did one where I used those beads and I poured them down the garbage disposal to make your garbage disposal smell good. And I mean, I got thousands and thousands of comments and views, and all like my guy clients are like, oh, this is life changing. Like, and it's like, so, you know, whatever. I'm like, have a cute jar of them. They look pretty on the counter. And it's like, I'm just using a scoop and throwing it down the drain.
Nice.
So it can be something like so simple, but maybe it's a different use of something.
Right.
You know, like that's not really meant for the garbage, but it's meant for laundry, but I've given you an alternate use for it.
Yeah.
So that's Fancy Fridays. I show up every Friday. I batch create because there's no way that you can just create content every day. That's exhausting and no one has time for that. So we batch create and that's Fancy Fridays. And I also have a Talk Back Tuesday where I do videos on Tuesdays. And those are like interactive where I'll ask a question about something like thicker baseboards. Like, what do you think? Do you like the thickness of it? Or do you think they're dust collectors because they have like 2 levels, you know, or whatever. And like people will comment and kind of just another thing to be present and add or something somebody may not have even thought of.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's good. Yeah. I like that because I like the Talk Back Tuesdays. That it just kind of all flows together. Like talk to me because I talk back, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, and again, it's not anything like they're just normal life things that people just may not have thought of the usage for.
Right. So I'm going to tell you something else that was kind of interesting to me with you. And you mentioned this when we were all at the table. So we were talking about events. Yeah. And you already know where I'm going.
Yes.
So tell us, is it your Christmas event where you invite your clients to your home?
So I've done a couple events at my house. So I did this past year. So Zariah was born in January. And so I wasn't going to have a Q1 event because I'm pregnant, new baby. So I did it in Q4.
Okay.
And I did a cocoa bomb event at my house where I basically invited all my clients to come over to my house and get cocoa bombs. For those of you that don't know what cocoa bombs are, they're like little cute chocolate, outing, and inside has different cocoa flavoring. So you just drop it in like your hot water or your milk, however you drink your hot chocolate, and it makes like a hot chocolate. And I invited everyone to my house. I had it open from like 11 to 2. So it's like a stop in, grab a tin for your family, you know, have a few snacks, you know, that kind of thing. So I've done that one at my house. I've also done, usually in January, I do like a let's kick off 2024 and I give out planners. I'm old school, so I like the written planners. Yes. I don't love the electronic stuff. So then I give them all like planners and they'll come to my house and I'll have champagne, mimosas, whatever. And they come through. So yeah, my clients have all been in my house. I think part of it, I do get a lot of people and I only send the invite out like literally like the week before. And I always get like 50, 60 people. But I think too, they want to see my house, like your family, Nancy, you know, like that kind of thing. But you know, like what better way to connect with your clients? Like you're in their home. You sell them their home. Like now they're in your home and they're in your space and they really feel like they're part of your family because they are. Without them, I wouldn't have the business that I have.
Absolutely.
And so it's just kind of one of those things, like, you know, when you invite someone into your house, like that's really personable, like, you know, and so, yeah.
Nice.
Most people would be like, oh my God, you have all these people at your house. I'm like, yeah, but like, you don't understand.
We all were like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? And you like, yeah, it's nothing. And then I saw the picture with all the stuff. It was decorated so pretty. And I was like, okay, yeah, she fancy, huh?
Yeah.
She fancy.
Yes.
Huh? So that's what I was saying to myself. So you did a good job.
Well, you know, you created an experience for them. And it's kind of one of those things where like, sometimes I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? It's like, I'm trying to outdo myself, right? Because you create and you give like a really good gift. It's almost like when your clients can't come because they have something, they have like the fear of missing out. Like, I'm so upset. Like they'll text, I'm so upset I'm missing your event, because like they expect it to be great. Right. You know, it's an expectation. Right. And so it's like, don't worry, you know, I'll send a gift with so-and-so or whatever. Because a lot of my clients know each other too, because they're referring or they've met each other on events. So, or I'll be like, you two live in the same neighborhood, or, and then they become friends because I've introduced them at one of my events. Right. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. I like it. I like it. All right. So tell me what the future looks like for Lux Living. Is that it? Yes. Okay. So, you know, right now I am just, you know, with new baby and all, I eventually want to get into doing some amazing master classes where I'm kind of teaching what made me successful. Right. And pushing those out to people and agents and people that want to get started. Right. Because I think a lot of times people see like you and other like successful agents and those kind of things, but they don't necessarily know or want to do the work that it takes to get to where you are. Absolutely. I think they just think like you're a locksmith, you unlock a door, you make all this money, it looks so glamorous, but that's not even a third of what we do. Absolutely. And so I don't really think people actually know what it is that we do, or how you have to constantly get your business and all the fees that there are and, you know, different things. Say it again. I'm just saying, I do not think that people know what it is. They don't know. And they just, all they see is us on social media, and we look like we have it all together. And on the inside, we're breaking down. Or we just called another agent just to vent. And we all have those agents that we can vent to. And some of us don't have agents that we can vent to, but y'all have been pretty good up here in Dallas for me to vent to, and I like it. So if I call and I have a problem, you answer the phone. You can help me. Dominique can help me. Rosemary can help me. Chauncey can help me. Nick can help me. Like I can just call or anybody, you know. And just yesterday, I was talking on the phone for an hour and a half to an agent in Texarkana, and that doesn't even that's unheard of. Yeah. And then the night before, I was on the phone with an agent from Arkansas, and we cried together on the phone. Yeah. You know, she was going through some things. So that's important. And it's very important. You have to have your real estate, you know, squad that you can count on and trust, definitely, because it's a hard business. And like I said, I think the general public thinks it's so easy. You write a contract, you make all this money, but that's not even a third of what you do. And with there being so many agents, it almost cheapens the brand of what a realtor actually does, because everybody feels like they can do it. But even now, like I just had a situation that I was telling you about where I had a realtor, and in the original contract, we negotiated $3,000 in closing costs. And then during the option period, for repairs, we negotiated another $1,000. When I sent over the amendment, I sent it over for $4,000 total. And she calls me and she's like, we have a problem. We didn't agree to $4,000 in repairs. And I'm like, right, it's $3,000 from the original contract plus $1,000, which makes the total paragraph change to $4,000. And she was just like, no, you're wrong. I've been doing this for 20 years, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you need to change it. And I said, no, I'm not going to change it. And I'm not wrong. Please go talk to your broker and go talk to Trek, go talk to your broker. You know, I could have easily done the whole, well, I've been in the business for 25 years. I just didn't even go there. I just was just like, go talk to them and you will see. I said, if you read the paragraph, it says this paragraph has been changed. If I would have listened to her and changed it, I would have then cut my buyer out of $3,000 from the original contract, because technically that amendment would have said that they owed me $1,000. Right. So it's those kind of things where it's like who you work with really matters, and you have to know your stuff. Yeah. And so again, you get all that from experience, right? You don't really get that from the classes and those kind of things. It's just from doing. But there's so many that's like, I've been this for 20 years, and it's like, yeah, no. And you literally just want to be like, yeah.
I seen where another agent this week in my timeline, she was like, I'm dealing with a client who says, I've been in the business for 20 years. And she's like, okay, what is that supposed to mean? You know, and I understand it's great to have all of those years under your belt. You could have been in business for 20 years and you could have just been sending referrals. We don't know that.
Yeah, like how much have you actually sold?
How much have you actually done in production? How many contracts have you actually done? And I hear people say that all the time. Oh, I've sold 50, 60, 70 million dollars in real estate. Great. Okay. What does that have to do with me? Let's just get to the business. Let's just get to the meat. Okay.
Yes.
And we can talk about all that other stuff that excites you later, you know?
It's just so frustrating too, because it's like
it is very frustrating, very, very frustrating. Okay, so Lux Living is thinking about coming up with this mastermind. I think that's great. You know,
I'm very I just like empowering people and inspiring people. Women are my thing. A lot of my clients are all women, single women, or women single moms, or you know, women that bought houses for themselves before they were married. And it just like really speaks to me and my heart. And so I just, anytime I can help anyone in that aspect, I'm there for it. That's why I love like Rosemary.
Yes.
Because like what she's done is like so amazing.
Yes.
And like to be able to be a part of that and just to know her and, you know, it's just a great thing. Cause it's like, she's literally inspiring women. Like that's her.
I mean, there was probably over 100 of us in the room.
It was amazing.
And it was amazing. And just for us to be able to piggyback off of each other, we laughed together, we cried together,
we prayed together,
we acted up together, we twerked together, we did all the things together. And that is amazing. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I'm a solo person. I really am an introvert, unless I know you. And if I like you, you'll know I like you. And if I don't fool with you, then you'll also know that I don't fool with you. That's just who I am. And so I hear people talk about building teams and stuff like that all the time. And that's not me. I would rather do a mastermind.
Yeah.
Or I would rather have a small group of us where we can all get together and talk about business. But me trying to teach and coach and prep and put all this hard earned blood, sweat, and tears into somebody else, and then they take it and go somewhere else, like that's not me.
Yeah. So it's not my model either. I think the thing is, you know, like I said, I started at the builder and we had partners and we worked with them. And it was like the minute one, you know, on your days off, it kind of felt like people were stealing cars. It was like a lot. It was just a lot. It's not my model either. And it's not to say that I wouldn't like to have a team, but I think there's in this business, what I've learned is that you cannot teach work ethic.
Right.
And with that being said, it's hard to be responsible for someone else's journey. Oh, well, you're not, I see so many things on the brokerages like, oh, my broker doesn't give me leads. My broker this, my broker that. It doesn't matter who
That's
you're
not
with.
their responsibility.
That's not their responsibility. It doesn't matter.
They're going to tell you that to get you there.
Everybody
sells it. Everybody
sells the dream, right?
Yeah.
And so my thing is like what you're going to get out of the business is what you put in the business. And
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't want to be responsible as a broker or team or whatever for your success. Like what you're going to get in it out of it is what you're going to put in it. And so, and I truly believe that. And I think that that's the thing with teams or broker. Like I have a broker's license. People ask me all the time, like, why don't you start your own brokerage? Yeah, well, I don't necessarily want to manage people. And I don't want to manage like, well, why don't I have this or why this? You know, that's not for me. Like I'll help anyone and not get paid for it. I do it all the time. I have people that call me, ask me questions.
Right.
I'm the first person to help. That's not because I feel like you have to bless others to be blessed.
Absolutely.
And so that's something that I do willingly anyways. But to have like a whole team that I'm responsible for and a brokerage and all these people under me, it's just not really in me. And if I was ever, I'm not saying never, but if I ever did start one, it would be real small. Like I'm talking like 3 to 5 agents and they have to sell like at least, you know, 10 million or whatever number I came up with a year. Like I don't really want to necessarily deal with newer agents.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the idea of what the job actually is, the idea of what we do and what the job actually is completely different. Because of social media. That I'm not someone that wants to balance that on top of my family and everything else.
Got it. Got it. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up. Got any trips planned this summer?
Not yet, but I do definitely need to get something on the books.
Yeah, you do.
I know. I'm overdue.
Shaking and baking and all that good stuff. You need to take a trip. You need to relax and let your hair down a little bit.
Yes.
All right. So give them your contact information and tell the people how they can reach out to you.
So I am on Facebook as just Nancy Messiha, and I'm on Instagram as live_just_fancier. That's my motto for life, live just fancier, because I feel like life is too short. And so be fancy, guys.
Right.
And my phone number is 909-268-5238.
All right, guys. Well, y'all heard it from Miss Fancy Nancy here on this beautiful Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.